Good evening, students. We'll begin with our today's lecture. We were studying about empowerment of women and the lower sections of the society. So we shall quickly finish this chapter and then we'll study the next chapter in your civic syllabus. So talking about women empowerment, we studied about various acts that the government of India has introduced in India post independence. We were talking about the practice of sati. So when we talk about the practice of sati, as I had told you last time, that when the husband dies, we see that along with that, his wife, who is still alive, she has been pushed into the funeral fire of her husband. And thereafter, even she is being killed alive in front of the whole village. The last sati which happened in India was on 4th of September 1987, post independence. The name of this married woman was रूप कंवर. रूप कंवर नाम की एक मैरिड औरत थी जो 4 सितंबर 1987 को जहां पे सती कमिट होता है उसको जलाया जाता है जिंदा. This was against her free will. This was against her wishes that the thing was happening. इसके बाद हम देखते हैं कि इंडिया में बहुत सारे फीमेल एक्टिविस्ट थे. There were various female leaders in India. There were journalists in India. Their names have been mentioned here if you can see properly. Meena Menon, Seshu. So these are some of the names. As you can see, they have been listed over here. They started investigating in this case, and they started just showing it on the news channels, in the newspapers, and they brought about an awakening in the entire Indian society, that despite of India having laws which have completely banned sati in India, still the sati practice was happening in India. Uske baad, in the year 1998, government of India, they made this sati prevention act even more stringent. उन्होंने और भी strict कर दिया ये sati prevention act को, and that is how we just don't have sati being practiced in India now. Next, we have the protection of human rights. When we talk about the protection of human rights, that means we are talking about the basic fundamental rights of us Indians. इंडियंस के जो बेसिक फंडामेंटल राइट्स होते हैं, क्योंकि लिए तुम ये देश के नागरिक हो, तो ये तुम्हारा हक है, ये तुम्हारा प्रिविलेज है बाय बर्थ, दैट यू हैव बीन ग्रांटेड विद फंडामेंटल राइट्स. You have right to equality, you have right to freedom, you have right to get educated, you have a right to file your cases in the court, whether it is the Supreme Court or whether it is the High Court. So here, when we talk about our fundamental rights, these are basic rights which have been given to all us Indians since we are a part of this country called as India, and the constitution allows you to do so. Three, इंडिया की जो नेशनल सरकार है, उसने नेशनल ह्यूमन राइट्स कमीशन नाम का एक टीम शुरू किया, as per which the fundamental rights of us Indian citizens, they have been protected. Above all, when we talk about the state governments, there are 28 state governments in India. तो ये 28 state governments में से कुछ states ने state human right commission फिर शुरू किया, as per which at the state level the human rights of Indian citizens, they have been protected. वो females जो divorced है, all those women who are divorced, all those women who have been molested at their workplaces, जो workplaces पे insecure feel करते हैं, इन लोगों के लिए स्पेशली ये ह्यूमन राइट्स कमीशन बनाए गए थे to protect all the human rights of the females working in different backgrounds. Next, talking about the reservation of women for women. When our constitution, जब भी हमारे संविधान को 73rd या 74th टाइम चेंज किया गया था, at this point of time 1/3 seats were being reserved for females in gram panchayat, पंचायत समितिस, at जिला परिषद, विलेज लेवल पे जो सरकार काम करती है उसको हम ग्राम पंचायत बोलते हैं. एक ब्लॉक लेवल पे, विलेज से ऊपर एक ब्लॉक आता है, when many villages they come together they form a block. तो एक ब्लॉक लेवल पे जो सरकार काम करती है उसको हम पंचायत समिति बोलते हैं। एंड व्हेन मेनी ब्लॉक्स दे कम टुगेदर दे फॉर्म अ डिस्ट्रिक्ट। तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे काम करने वाली सरकार को जिला परिषद बोला जाता है। तो चाहे वो ग्राम पंचायत हो, पंचायत समिति हो या जिला परिषद हो, और इनमें पोजीशंस होती है सरपंच की, मेयर की, चेयरमैन की। So in all these government sectors, in all these government offices, we see that 1/3 seats have been reserved for females. इनफैक्ट ऐसा बोला जाता है कि महाराष्ट्र और इंडिया के दूसरे 15 ऐसे स्टेट्स हैं जिन्होंने सिर्फ 1/3 सीट्स बुक नहीं की है, 1/3 सीट्स रिजर्व नहीं की है फीमेल्स के लिए, बट दे हैव एक्चुअली रिजर्व्ड 50% ऑफ द सीट्स फॉर दीज फीमेल्स to give them equal opportunity as that of a men. In the post-independence period, it was being said that here we have accepted this principle of equality in between the men and the women. हम देखते हैं कि आज़ादी मिल जाने के बाद जब भी हमारे जो लीडर्स थे, when we talk about our leaders, who are these leaders? So when we talk about the post-independence period, आज़ादी मिल जाने के बाद, we see that we had many leaders who were there. For example, we had Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, we had Mahatma Gandhi, we had Dr. Rajendra Prasad, we had Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad. इन लोगों ने हमारे आज़ादी का स्ट्रगल देखा है. They have seen that how India had got independence. And आज़ादी मिल जाने के बाद, in the post-independence period, when these people are making the Constitution of India, जब ये लोग इंडिया के लिए संविधान बना रहे हैं, what is more important? ये संविधान में ऐसे क्लॉजेस डाले जाते हैं, ऐसे कानून डाले जाते हैं जहां पे मेल फीमेल इक्वालिटी की बात की जाती है. दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट मेल एंड द फीमेल बीइंग ट्रीटेड इक्वली इनसाइड इंडिया. So as per this principle, they started introducing various laws in the Constitution of India जहां पे लड़कियों को पढ़ाना लिखाना कंपलसरी है. Equal rights should be given to the women in case of education. Women should work at par with men. अगर किसी भी वर्क प्लेस में जाते हो फ्यूचर में, if you go to any offices, if you join any workplaces, male and the female should be treated equally. Sati is supposed to be stopped inside India. It is considered as an inhuman practice. डाउरी इंडिया में प्रैक्टिस नहीं होना चाहिए, दहेज प्रैक्टिस नहीं होना चाहिए, पॉलीगैमी प्रैक्टिस नहीं होना चाहिए. A husband keeping more than one wife is not accepted as per the law. तो इसीलिए हम देखते हैं कि इंडिया में ऐसे बहुत सारे कानून डाले गए थे उसके बाद, जिसके तहत इंडिया में मेल और फीमेल को इक्वल राइट्स दिए जाते हैं. नेक्स्ट we shall move on to this blue patch, which is extremely important, the one which you can see here. Okay. The blue patch, which you can just see over here. We very well know that 8th of March is celebrated as International Women's Day every year. लेकिन ये 8th of March International Women's Day की तरह क्यों सेलिब्रेट किया जाता है? We are going to understand that now. न्यूयॉर्क में हम देखते हैं, that is one of the metropolitan cities of United States of America. In New York, in the year 1857, 8th of March, एक बहुत बड़ा मोर्चा निकला था सारे फीमेल्स का, all the women, all the working women, they went and they participated in this huge big demonstration which happened in New York on 8th of March 1857. न्यूयॉर्क में रहने वाले, अमेरिका में रहने वाले मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटी में जो वर्किंग वुमेन थी, these females they used to work in various industries, in factories. तो हम देखते हैं कि ये सिर्फ हाउसवाइफ्स नहीं थी, they were also working women who used to go out for work in order to earn, the daily necessity requirements. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, जब भी ये अपने ऑफिसेज में जाते हैं, दे वर्क फॉर मेनी अ नंबर ऑफ आवर्स. दिन में 15-14 घंटे ये लोग काम करते हैं. हार्डली कुछ घंटों के लिए वो घर में रहते हैं. दे आर नॉट इवन बीइंग पेड इक्वल रेम्यूनरेशन। जितना वहां पे लड़कों को रेम्यूनरेशन दिया जाता था, पैसे दिए जाते थे, सैलरीज दी जाती थी, उसके हिसाब से लड़कियों को बहुत कम सैलरीज दी जाती थी। Married women, they used to leave their children behind in the house and then they used to go for work. तो उनके पीछे उनका बच्चों का देखभाल करने वाला कोई होता नहीं था। तो गवर्नमेंट को बोला गया कि क्रेचेस खोले जाए, डे केयर सेंटर्स खोले जाए, जहां पे ये बच्चों को ये मैरिड वुमेन रख के जा सकती है, बेबी सिटिंग उनका करवा सकती है, एंड देन दे कैन गो एंड दे कैन वर्क एनीवेयर वेर एवर दे वांट। इस चीज के लिए बहुत बड़ा डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन हुआ था ऑन 8 ऑफ मार्च 1857। उसके 50 साल के बाद वापस ऑन 8 ऑफ मार्च 1909 a similar kind of a strike and a demonstration happened again in New York, and it specially happened in various parts of the world thereon. इस चीज की बात पहुंचती है एट एन इंटरनेशनल लेवल। इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे एक फीमेल के लिए ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिसको वुमेन्स सोशलिस्ट इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस फिर बोला गया था। इसके लिए एक स्पेशल डिस्कशन हुआ था डेनमार्क में, एंड देयर आफ्टर 1975 वाज डिक्लेयर्ड एज इंटरनेशनल वुमेन्स ईयर। उसके बाद 8 ऑफ मार्च 1977 को हम हर साल इंटरनेशनल वुमेन्स डे सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। इस चीज का डिसीजन यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने लिया था उसके जनरल असेंबली में। नेक्स्ट वी शैल स्टडी इज अबाउट द शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट। सो टॉकिंग अबाउट द शेड्यूल कास्ट, आज़ादी मिलने के पहले हम देखते हैं इंडिया में अनटचेबिलिटी प्रैक्टिस होता था। दोज हु वर कंसिडर्ड एज अनटचेबल्स, जिनको अनटचेबल्स माना जाता था इंडिया में, ये शूद्रस होते थे। तो हिंदुइज्म की ही जब भी हम बात करें, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट हिंदुइज्म एज अ रिलीजन, तो हिंदू सोसाइटी में हम देखते हैं कि हिंदू सोसाइटी को 4 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया जाता है। सबसे टॉपमोस्ट लेवल पे ब्राह्मण्स आते हैं, below the brahmins are the kshatriyas, then we have the vaishyas and then we have the shudras। तो ये जो शूद्रस होते हैं उनको अनटचेबल्स की तरह माना जाता है, उनको दलित्स की तरह माना जाता है। दे आर नॉट अलाउड टू बी द पार्ट ऑफ अ सोसाइटी। इनका अगर शैडो भी किसी इंसान पे पड़ जाए तो ये बहुत ही अनऑस्पिशियस माना जाता है। इट इज कंसिडर्ड एज अ वेरी बिग नेगेटिव साइन। More than that, these Dalits were not even allowed to use public places. पब्लिक प्लेसेस जहाँ पे वेल्स होते थे, पार्क्स होते थे, यहाँ पे ये दलित्स को, अनटचेबल्स को अलाउड नहीं था कि वो वहां पे जाके वो कहीं पे भी पानी खींच सके, वेल से वो पानी ले सके, या वो किसी पब्लिक एरियाज में जाके पब्लिक पार्क्स में बैठ सके। रेलवेज में इनको ट्रैवल करना अलाउड नहीं था विथ द अपर सोसाइटी, विथ द ब्राह्मण्स। So such untouchability, it has been completely stopped in India. As per the 17th paragraph, which has been mentioned in our constitution, untouchability, we see that it is now supposed to be a crime. If anybody is practicing any untouchability in India, then for sure, such people, they are being punished and they have been put inside the jail. So there is a question which has been asked that what is polygamy? Polygamy is nothing else but keeping more than one wives. So before India getting independence, we had such kings in India, whether these were Hindu kings or whether they were Muslim kings. They were supposed to keep more than one wives. They used to keep more than one wives. तो ऐसी चीजों को फिर बैन कर दिया गया है। Even if you recently look at the news, there is triple talaq which has been banned inside India. तो यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कि ट्रिपल तलाक के तहत the Muslims, as per Quran, they are supposed to, they are rather allowed to keep more than one wives. उनको 4 बीवियां रखना allowed है, but only on one condition, that they treat all their wives equally. इसके अलावा the Muslim man is also allowed to divorce his wife, any of his wives, whenever he wants. तो ये जो ट्रिपल तलाक था इसको बैन कर दिया गया है फिर इंडिया में। So talking about untouchability, it's a heinous crime in India by now. इस चीज को अलाउ नहीं किया जाता है। इन अनटचेबल्स को हम स्केड्यूल कास्ट के कैटेगरीज में लेकर आते हैं, एंड द सीट्स आर रिजर्व्ड फॉर देम in various sections of the government department. Next, we have scheduled tribes. Now, what are scheduled tribes? These are basically those Adivasi people who live in the jungle areas. They live on the foothills of Himalayas or maybe on the foothills of any other mountain range. The severe problem which these Adivasis they face inside a country is that these Adivasis they are staying away from the metropolitan cities. They are staying away far from the modern world. So they are not having a good access to education. They do not have access to schools and colleges. तो ये पढ़े लिखे नहीं होते हैं. They are economically backward as well as they are socially backward. They live in the forest area. तो इनका जो लाइवलीहुड है, इनका जो पैसा होता है, वो आता है या तो एग्रीकल्चर से या तो फिर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस से. If these Adivasis they keep on staying in the forest areas and maybe on the foothills of certain mountain ranges, तो हो सकता है कि जो वहाँ की जमीन हो वो उतनी फर्टाइल ना हो. एंड इफ द लैंड मास इज नॉट दैट फर्टाइल, तो इनका जो खाने पीने का जो रहने का खर्चा होता है जो एग्रीकल्चर से आता है, वहां पे खेती बाड़ी भी अच्छी नहीं होती है. एंड प्लस ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट वी सी दैट दे आर नॉट इवन बीन गिवन good nutritious food at the end, because of which we see that these Adivasis they are malnourished, they do not even get good medical care. And that is why the government of India has again given a proper seat reservation to such Adivasis, to such scheduled tribes in various government sectors again. Next we have the nomadic tribes, or we have the denotified tribes. When we talk about the nomadic tribes, तुमने nomad ये word सुना होगा when you must have studied about the various other chapters in history. If you have ever had Stone Age era, Neolithic, Chalcolithic, अगर ये eras के बारे में सुना है, तो for sure उसमें nomadic tribes होती थी. Means these are some of the communities in India who do not stay at one particular place. Rather, they move from one place to another. ये अपना जो घर बार है वो एक जगह से दूसरे जगह को हमेशा शिफ्ट करते रहते हैं. उनका लाइवलीहुड, उनका जो रोज रोज का खाने पीने का रहने का जो खर्चा होता है, वो उनको सिर्फ एक ही ऑक्यूपेशन से मिलता है, एंड दैट इज बाय कैटल रेयरिंग. ये एनिमल्स को पालते हैं. ये एनिमल्स से उनको जो भी मिलता है, चाहे वो मीट हो या चाहे वो स्किन हो एनिमल्स का, या चाहे देयर आर डेयरी प्रोडक्ट्स, these are some of the things which they actually get from these animals which they keep. So through animal rearing they earn their livelihood. तो ऐसे nomadic tribes जो होते हैं, इनको ब्रिटिशर्स ने criminal tribes की तरह माना था. So these nomadic tribes, they were not being given an equal status in the society during the times of Britishers. Britishers, they had passed this law which came to be known as the law of 1871, as per which these tribes were being announced as the criminal tribes and they were not being given an equal status in the society. आज़ादी मिल जाने के बाद ऐसे क्रिमिनल ट्राइब्स को क्रिमिनल ट्राइब्स नहीं माना जाता है. ये जो नोमैडिक ट्राइब्स होती है उनको डी नोटिफाइड ट्राइब्स के अंडर लिया गया है. एंड दे हैव बीन गिवन गुड प्रोविजंस, they have been given proper education, proper housing facilities, they have been given proper educational institutes in their areas, they have been given government jobs. तो इसके तहत इनको ऊपर लाया जाता है. फिर next is the issue of minorities in India. We see that India is such a country which has diversified cultures. They have a lot of religion in India. So when we see our culture, when we see our traditions and when we see our religions, ऐसी कुछ communities है जो बहुत ही minority में है. For example, when you talk about the Parsi community, बहुत ही minority में आते हैं, इनका population भी बहुत कम है. कल उठ के ऐसा भी सीन हो सकता है कि जहां पे ये कम्युनिटी बचे ही नहीं. So for such minorities, the government of India has made proper reservations. इनके लिए भी reservations किए जाते हैं. And above all, government of India, it tries to preserve these communities. ये आगे जाके extinct ना हो जाए, इसके लिए इंडिया की सरकार allow करती है कि वो अपने लैंग्वेज को प्रिजर्व करे, अपने कल्चर को प्रिजर्व करे, अपने ट्रेडिशंस को प्रिजर्व करे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इवन इफ यू लुक एट द सिंधी कम्युनिटी, ये जो भाषा बोलते हैं ये सिंधी भाषा बोलते हैं, लेकिन ये भाषा लिखी नहीं जाती है. There is no script to this language. So the government of India promotes such communities in India to preserve their language, to preserve their culture, their tradition. So this is how we try to uplift, we try to preserve our diversity also. So there is a question being asked that what is the meaning of coerced? Coerced का मतलब होता है coerced का मतलब होता है being forced. What is malnourished? Malnourished is nothing else but when a person does not get proper nutrition in his food, तो वो malnourished रह जाता है. He is brought down to skin and bones. What is the meaning of remuneration? Remuneration, it means salaries. Nomadic का मतलब क्या है? Nomadic का मतलब ये होता है that it is a community, it is that small group of people which does not have a proper house. उनका एक घर नहीं होता जहां पे वो एक जगह रहते हैं. These people, they move from one place to another. वो अपना पूरा घर, पूरा सामान, पूरी फैमिली को लेके एक जगह से दूसरे जगह पे वो घूमते रहते हैं. नेक्स्ट, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ क्रेचेस? क्रेचेस का मतलब होता है these are small daycare centers. It's a place where the women can keep the baby and they can do their babysitting over there. लड़कियां काम पे जा सकते हैं अपने बच्चों को पीछे छोड़ के. Okay. Next, there is another question which has been asked, that is, what is the meaning of enumerated? Enumerated means they have been elaborated, they have been explained in a way more better way. That's it. So we'll begin with the next chapter in your political science syllabus, in your civics syllabus, and that is about United Nations. There is yet another question which has been asked. What is the meaning of curb? Curb का मतलब है to cut down. किसी चीज को अगर कम कर देना है, उसको पूरी तरह से बंद कर देना है, उसको हम बोलते हैं कर्ब. To cut down means to curb. Okay. We'll begin with the next chapter in your civics syllabus, and that is chapter number 4. It's United Nations Organization. So everybody must have heard about United Nations Organization. आजकल न्यूज़ चैनल पे बहुत ही ज़्यादा आया करता है. So what is United Nations Organization basically? It's nothing else but the peace organization. We should not forget this, that when you look at the world map, जब भी तुम world के map पे देखते हो, there are in and all 196 countries which you see on the world map. ये 196 countries में से 193 countries जब भी एक साथ आती है, they form this organization which is called as United Nations. World War I में हम देखते हैं that there are almost 9 million people, 9 to 7 million people who lost their lives. इसके बाद हम देखते हैं by the time it is World War II, we had more than 20 million people, 60 million people who lost their lives in World War II. इतने बड़े 2 wars हो जाने के बाद अगर तीसरा वर्ल्ड वॉर करने जाएंगे तो शायद ह्यूमैनिटी बचेगा ही नहीं. We might not even have human existence. The earth might not even be a suitable place for us to live in. तो इसके लिए वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 के बाद दुनिया में और कोई दूसरे वॉर्स ना हो, there was this peace organization which had been established and it came to be known as the United Nations Organization. We should not forget this, that when World War I happened, this war went on for 4.5 years. तो वर्ल्ड वॉर 1 खत्म हो जाने के बाद एक पीस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बना था जिसका नाम था लीग ऑफ नेशंस. But this peace organization, that is the League of Nations, it was a futile organization. ये कुछ काम का organization नहीं था. क्यों के लिए लीग ऑफ नेशंस एक वीक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन था वर्ल्ड पीस मेंटेन करने के लिए. That is why the Second World War II happened. And because of this, we see that then when the Second World War II came to an end, we had United Nations organization which had been finally established. तो यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ये बनाने का जो ट्राई था वो कौन सी दो कंट्रीज ने किया. The two countries which came together was England and America. इंग्लैंड का वो टाइम पे जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर था ही वाज सर विंस्टन चर्चिल, अ वेरी रेनाउंड प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंग्लैंड. He has been even, respected today in England. If you go to UK, अगर तुम ब्रिटेन जाओगे तो आज भी इस प्राइम मिनिस्टर को बहुत माना जाता है. So talking about Sir Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of England, and talking about America, whose president was Franklin Roosevelt. Both these leaders of two countries, they come together on 14th of August 1941. And thereafter, they sign a treaty which is called as the Atlantic Treaty. ये दो कंट्रीज के जो लीडर्स थे इन्होंने डिसाइड किया कि बाय द टाइम इट इज 1944 एंड 1945, ये 2 साल ऐसे है कि जहां हम ट्राई करेंगे कि वर्ल्ड वाइड जितनी भी कंट्रीज हैं हम इनके लीडर्स को साथ में लेकर आए, एक समझौता करें और एक पीस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन साथ में मिलकर फिर खोले. सो दैट इज व्हाई वी फाइनली सी दैट in San Francisco, again, it's a metropolitan city of America. तो San Francisco में 50 countries मिलती है. There are 50 countries which came together in San Francisco, and they started with this organization which is called as United Nations Organization. हमें ये नहीं भूलना चाहिए that out of 193 countries which are there in United Nations Organization today, पहले ये यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में सिर्फ 50 कंट्रीज थी जिन्होंने मिलकर यूएनओ की शुरुआत की. और ये 50 कंट्रीज में से एक कंट्री इंडिया था विच वाज द प्राउड मेंबर ऑफ यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जिसने यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को पहली दफा ज्वाइन किया. देयर वाज अ रीसेंट क्वेश्चन व्हिच हैड बीन आस्क्ड इन कौन बनेगा करोड़पति. इफ यू लुक एट इट, which day is celebrated on 24th of October every year. 24th of October is celebrated as the United Nations Day every year, क्योंकि यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एस्टैब्लिश हुआ था ऑन 24th of October 1945. यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अगर तुम देखोगे, इनिशियली इन द बिगनिंग देयर वर ओनली 50 कंट्रीज हु वर रेडी टू जॉइन यूएनओ. उसके बाद आज की डेट में हम देखते हैं that there are 193 countries which are a part of United Nations Organization. There are 3 objectives which have been listed over here. And if you look at these 3 objectives of United Nations Organization, it tries to maintain friendly relations in between these 193 countries, जो जरा भी नहीं होता है. There is no friendly relations in between these 193 countries as what you can see in today's date. It tries to maintain friendly relations in between these nations. If you look at the international security, हमें ये देखना चाहिए कि आगे जाके दो कंट्रीज अगर वॉर पे जाती है तो वॉर करने के पहले इन दोनों कंट्रीज को मिलाया जाए, उनके बीच में बातचीत हो, एक म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग के साथ. इफ वी कैन ब्रिंग अ वॉर टू एन एंड, for sure United Nations will be always up for it. Next, the third objective of United Nations Organization is to safeguard and to foster human rights. We see that by the time it was World War II, there were 60 million people who lost their lives in World War II. And by the time there were 60 million people who lost their lives in this World War II, we see that United Nations Organization, when it has been established, it tries to secure the human rights. इनमें जो मरने वाले लोग थे, these were senior citizens, these were pregnant women, these were small children, these were infants who lost their lives in World War II. Rather than soldiers and military participating in World War II, we had the non-combatant groups, we had all those civilians who participated in the war and they lost their lives. Because of which we finally see that United Nations Organization had been established, and through the declaration of UDHR, their human rights have been preserved then. Next, we have the principles of United Nations Organization. यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अगर कोई भी कंट्री ज्वाइन करती है, these countries are supposed to sign the principles, they are supposed to sign the charter of United Nations organization. यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ज्वाइन करने के कुछ रूल्स है। तो अगर इंडिया हो या देश का या वर्ल्ड का कोई भी कंट्री अगर यूएनओ को ज्वाइन करता है तो उसके कुछ रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस होते हैं। For example, whenever a country participates in United Nations organization, we see that here all the member nations will be treated equally. 193 countries को equally treat किया जाएगा, whether the country is rich, whether the country is poor, whether the country is geographically bigger in size or whether it is smaller in size, whether the country has a huge military power or it is very weak. इन सारे देशों को equally treat किया जाएगा, whether these are African countries or whether these are Asian countries or whether these are the countries belonging to Latin America. United Nations organization, it will aim that all the nations, they come together, all the member nations, they come together, they give that freedom, they give that geographical unity to all its member nations. They try to solve their disputes at an international level in a very peaceful means. So these are some of the boring principles, and we have some objectives of United Nations organization, which we just studied right now. Okay. We shall further foster. What is the meaning of foster? So foster का मतलब होता है to promote, to enhance. Okay. So there is a question, and it's a very interesting question which has been asked by Jay Chauhan. He's from Ghatkopar. So he has asked that कि world में तो 196 countries है. Then why is it so that only 193 countries have been a part of United Nations organization? What about the rest of the 3 countries? So Taiwan, it is not been recognized as a country still by China, and that is why we see that Taiwan is not a part of UNO. Talking about Vatican City, it's one more another country because of its religious status, it is not a part of UNO. And then there is one more, that is Kosovo. तो ये कुछ countries है जो UNO का हिस्सा नहीं है. Okay, and the similar question had been asked by Rishika. She is from Saidha. Okay, so these were really good questions which have been asked by these two people. Fine. Okay. So there is a question being asked by Chirag that Taiwan is a part of North Korea. Absolutely not. Please go ahead and check the world map today. Okay. So what about Tibet? This question has been asked by Jay, who is from Ghatkopar. Tibet, is it a part of China? Yes, it is a part of China. It had been captured by China. Okay. Getting back again to United Nations organization. United Nations organization की बात करें, then this whole big organization has 3 organs. It has, it has 6 organs. It has 6 departments in it. The very first department is General Assembly. The second department is Security Council. The third department is ECOSOC, that is Economic and Social Council. The fourth one is International Court of Justice. In short, it is called as ICJ. The fifth department is Trusteeship Council, and the sixth one is Secretariat. So these are the 6 organs, these are the 6 wings of United Nations organization. We are going to study the General Assembly, we'll study Security Council, we'll study ECOSOC, and we'll study about the International Court of Justice. So let us begin with the General Assembly. जनरल असेंबली इट इज कॉल्ड एज द वर्ल्ड पार्लियामेंट. ये पूरी दुनिया का पार्लियामेंट बोला जाता है, एंड इट इज अ डेलिब्रेटिव ऑर्गन ऑफ यूएनओ. ये ऐसा एक ऑर्गन है यूएनओ का जहां पे 193 कंट्रीज के सारे मेंबर्स आते हैं
193 कंट्रीज दे सेंड देयर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स, वो अपने लोगों को भेजते हैं जनरल असेंबली में इन ऑर्डर टू कैरी आउट वेरियस डिस्कशंस। तो ये जनरल असेंबली हर साल सितंबर से लेकर दिसंबर के बीच में मिलता है and they do various discussions on the issues of environment, disarmament and so on. Okay, तो इंडिया का जो इशू था अभी, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर का जो इशू था, you know, wherein this discussion used to happen in United Nations organization, environment के issues को discuss किया जाता है, disarmament के बारे में बात की जाती है. So these are some of the topics on which the discussion is being done in the General Assembly by all those 193 countries. ये 193 countries जब एक General Assembly में बैठती है, their position is the same. They have been given an equal status, whether a country is rich, whether the country is poor, whether the country is big or whether it is small, everybody have been just given an equal status over here. जनरल असेंबली में खाली डिस्कशन होता है और रेजोल्यूशंस पास होते हैं. जनरल असेंबली में कोई डिसीजन नहीं लिया जाता. There is no decision being taken in the General Assembly. It is just an organ which deliberates over the matter. It discusses over the matter. So talking about such kind of a General Assembly के functions क्या है? It elects non-permanent members to the Security Council. We'll study about it. Who are these non-permanent members? And Security Council, it's one of the organs of United Nations organization. And next, United Nations organization का जो ये General Assembly है, this General Assembly, along with the Security Council, they appoint the judges to the ICJ. तो ICJ में इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस में बैठने वाले जो जजेस हैं उनको अपॉइंट करने का काम भी जनरल असेंबली करता है विद द हेल्प ऑफ सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल. टॉकिंग अबाउट द एनुअल बजट, यूनाइटेड नेशंस को चलाने के लिए पैसे तो चाहिए, तो ये 193 कंट्रीज अपना थोड़ा थोड़ा शेयर लेकर आती है पैसों का. हर साल एक बजट तैयार होता है कि यूनाइटेड नेशंस कहाँ पे ये पैसों को यूज करेगा फिर. So an annual budget is being passed every year by the General Assembly then. We shall now move on to the second organ of United Nations, and that is the Security Council. So there is a question which has been asked by Mrunal. He is asking that what is disarmament? Disarmament का मतलब है कि हथियार नीचे रख देना. Okay. It means that you will call off for stockpiling of armaments. अगर तुम बहुत सारा चाइना हो या इंडिया हो या अमेरिका हो, when they are investing too much into the war industry, तो वो टाइम पे ऐसे कंट्रीज को रोकने का काम, डिसआर्मामेंट का काम जनरल असेंबली डिस्कस करता है यूनाइटेड नेशंस में. Next, there is a question from Yashika from DN Nagar. She has asked, what is aggressor? Aggressor का मतलब ये है कि जो देश बहुत ही अग्रेसिव है, बहुत ही ज्यादा एक्सट्रीम पेट्रियोटिज्म में बिलीव करता है, जहाँ पे he loves his nation but he hates other countries, इसको हम अग्रेसर बोलते हैं. Okay. So there is a question which has been asked from DN Nagar by Namra. Is UNO and UNESCO the same? No. UNO का एक एजेंसी है जिसको हम यूनेस्को बोलते हैं. Okay. So talking about Security Council में 15 countries के members बैठते हैं. Out of these 15 countries members who sit in the Security Council, there are 5 members who are called as the permanent members. So we have America, Russia, England, France, and China. These are the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. ये 5 कंट्रीज सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में बैठती है और बाकी की जो 10 कंट्रीज है दे कीप ऑन चेंजिंग आफ्टर एवरी 2 years. They are called as the non-permanent members. Now, what is more important over here is that whenever any decision is being taken in United Nations organization, this decision is passed by the Security Council. सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल वो डिपार्टमेंट है जो यूनाइटेड नेशंस के सारे डिसीजंस लेता है. यहाँ पे डिस्कशन से ज्यादा डिसीजन लिया जाता है. So Security Council, it has more power than the General Assembly. This Security Council, when we see that it is sitting with its 15 members, जब यहाँ पे 15 members बैठते हैं, 15 members में से जो 5 permanent members है, that is America, Russia, England, France and China, अगर ये 5 permanent members में से कोई भी एक permanent member veto दे देता है, अगर अपना negative vote दे देता है, तो वो decision कभी भी pass नहीं होगा. So that is wherein we call it as the veto power. So who has the veto power? The 5 permanent members of the Security Council, they have the veto power. So I hope you guys have understood till here. There are no queries still here. In case if you have any doubts, you can just post it in the chat box. So what is veto power? Veto power is with the 5 permanent countries of the Security Council. Whenever any decision is being passed, जब भी कोई भी डिसीजन पास होता है और अगर ये 5 कंट्रीज में से कोई भी एक कंट्री अपना वीटो पावर यूज करता है तो वो डिसीजन पास होने के पहले ही फेल हो जाता है. ओके, so there is a question being asked, how is China made a permanent member? United Nations organization जब भी बना तब से लेके आज तक चाइना परमानेंट मेंबर है because China was the winner nation of World War II. तभी वो टाइम पे चाइना और इंडिया के रिलेशंस बहुत ही अच्छे थे. So initially there were only 4 permanent members in the Security Council. चाइना उसके बाद ऐड होता है as a permanent member. जब भी जनरल असेंबली ने परमिशन दिया था चाइना को, तो जनरल असेंबली में जो 193 कंट्रीज थी उसमें 50% से ज्यादा कंट्रीज ने चाइना को वोट दिया था कि वो परमानेंट मेंबर बन जाए. And India at that point of time had supported China because we had very good relations in the past with China. Okay. Fine. So we'll just move on with the functions of the Security Council now. Talking about the functions of the Security Council, it's the same thing. It will try to maintain international peace and security. शांति बनाए रखेगा, international conflicts को अच्छे से resolve कर देगा. You know, अगर कोई country बहुत ही aggressive हो रही है, अगर country बहुत ही ज़्यादा अपना military power use कर रही है world में, दूसरे countries को डरा रही है, if one powerful country is trying to threaten another weaker nation, then at this point of time, it is the duty of the Security Council to impose some financial sanctions. कोई फाइन इम्पोज होना चाहिए ऐसी कंट्रीज पे जो दूसरी कंट्री के पीस को अफेक्ट करता है, या कोई मिलिट्री एक्शन लेना चाहिए वो देश के अगेंस्ट जो किसी देश के अगेंस्ट जा रहा है. So there has to be the policy of arms control, and more than that we see that General Assembly, it makes the appointments of the judges in the International Court of Justice along with the Security Council. Okay. India, it's trying to make many efforts to become a part of the permanent member of the Security Council. But as of now, we are still just trying. हम लोग अब तक बने नहीं हैं. Okay. Fine. So we'll end the lecture for today. In case if you have any queries, you can just discuss it in the next lecture then.